Zena lived in a crooked little house that sat like a stubborn old goat on the very top of Hillberry Hill, the highest bump in all of Bell County, Texas. The house was small, but it had a wide porch that creaked when you walked on it, a rusty wind vane shaped like a chicken that spun with every puff of wind, and a gable window that pointed straight toward the sky, Zena's favorite window in the world. She was 8 years old, with a wild mop of curly hair that never stayed put, a pair of knobbly knees forever covered in grass stains, and the sort of imagination that could turn a puddle into a portal. Zena lived with her grandma, Granny Jo, who had hands like old leather and a heart as soft as fresh bread. Together, they ran their teeny ranch with 2 chickens, who acted like royalty, a sheep named Snort, a sleepy cow called Marmalade, and an old horse named Dusty, who Zena swore could understand every word she said. Each morning, just as the rooster yodeled at the sun, Zena would throw on her overalls and boots. She did not wear socks because she didn't like how they slid around. Then she would scamper out into the crisp dawn. She'd help Granny Jo milk Marmalade, who always gave exactly 1.5 pails of milk, no more, no less, and gently lift warm, brown-speckled eggs from under the grumpy hens. The eggs were for breakfast, the milk for trading in town, and the rest of the morning was for Dusty. Dusty was older than dirt, with a dull brown mane that fetched him his name and a slow, wise walk. He never galloped, hardly even trotted, but Zena loved riding him across the top of the hill, hair flying, wind whooshing in her ears, pretending she was a cowgirl on a secret mission or a runaway princess escaping goblins. Sometimes she just rode in silence, breathing in the smell of warm earth and wildflowers. But every night, every single night, Zena climbed up to her gable window, knelt on the creaky wooden bench beneath it, and gazed out toward the bottom of the hill. That's where the Forbidden Woods began. The Forbidden Woods were thick and tangled, like a ball of green yarn left out in the rain. Children were not allowed to even speak of them, let alone step foot near them. There were rules, serious rules. Even the town's welcome sign said, "Welcome to Bell County, home of kind folks and no woods talk." But Zena couldn't help herself, because from her gable window, she saw them. Every night, 2 tiny orange glows blinked to life in the exact same spot deep in the woods. She'd squint and squint, holding her breath, convinced they were eyes, wolf eyes watching the hill, daring someone to come closer. Sometimes she imagined the wolves whispering to each other, chuckling darkly. No little girls tonight, but maybe tomorrow. Still, she watched, every single night. Her heart hammering in her chest, her breath fogging the glass, her head swimming with stories she hadn't written yet. Zena had only one friend she trusted with this secret, Barley. Barley lived on the next hill over, and was the kind of friend who always saved her a spot under the big oak tree at school during lunch, and once gave her a whole peanut butter cookie just because she looked sad. But Barley didn't see the forest flames the way Zena did. He said they were probably lanterns from hunters, or maybe fireflies playing tricks. He always spoke with so much common sense it bordered on boring sometimes, honestly. Then there was Ed. Ed was a mean, nose-up-in-the-air boy with too many pencils and too much hair gel. He made fun of Zena's patchy clothes and her skinny arms. Every day, without fail, he called her Scarecrow Zena in front of the whole class. Sometimes he sang it like a jingle. Scarecrow Zena lives on a hill, drinks cow milk and eats chicken spill. Nobody laughed. Not really, but nobody stopped him either. Zena never told Granny Jo. Granny already had so many things to worry about. Raccoons stealing feed, cows that wouldn't stay put, and roof shingles that blew off in every windstorm. Zena didn't want to add mean boys to the list. So she rode Dusty, did her chores, and watched the woods from her window. She tried not to care. She told herself stories where she was the hero, brave, bold, and unbothered. But sometimes, just sometimes, when Ed was especially mean, or when the lights in the woods flared a little brighter than usual, she wondered if there wasn't more to the world than chores and chickens and secrets seen through gable windows. And if there was, maybe one day she'd go find it. Wednesdays were supposed to be good days. That's what Zena told herself every week, because Wednesdays meant apple butter sandwiches. Thick, gooey, sticky sweet apple butter made by Granny Jo from the very apples that fell off their hilltop tree. They were squished, spiced, and spooned into mismatched jars, then spread on slightly stale bread, because fresh bread was for Saturdays, and wrapped lovingly, always, in a sunflower napkin. Granny Jo said the sunflower napkins were lucky. Zena believed her. So on that Wednesday morning, as Zena skipped along the dusty roads of Bell County, she clutched her lunch bag like it held treasure. Because it did. Apple butter was her favorite. But lunchtime didn't come fast enough. The day dragged like a tired dog. First, math tests with too many numbers, then science class, where the teacher tried to explain cloud formations using cotton balls glued to blue cardboard. Zena liked clouds better when they stayed in the sky. Finally, the bell rang for lunch. Zena raced to her usual spot under the big oak tree near the swings. Barley was already there, trading his carrot sticks for someone else's cookies. Zena opened her brown bag, smiling, stomach growling, ready to... Her sandwich was gone. She stared at the bag, blinking. Empty, just a crumpled napkin, not her napkin. This one was plain, white, and unfamiliar. No sunflowers, no apple butter, no nothing. Barley frowned. "You sure you packed it?" "Granny packed it," Zena said softly. She never forgets. It wasn't long before she spotted it, or rather, him. Across the yard, swaggering like he owned the grass itself, was Ed. Same slicked back hair, same 2 white sneakers. But today, something else. A flicker of yellow and brown poked out from his back pocket. A sunflower napkin. Zena's heart thudded like galloping hooves. Her cheeks burned, not with anger, but something heavier. Something that made her throat tighten. She didn't say a word. Not then. She just sat quietly, hands folded in her lap, trying not to cry in front of the other kids. Barley offered her half of his squished cheese sandwich. She took a bite, mostly out of politeness. It tasted like old glue. The rest of the school day drifted by in a blur of chalk dust and whispered giggles, but Zena barely heard any of it. Her stomach growled, her eyes stung, her sunflower napkin, her sandwich, had been stolen. And worse. Granny Jo would ask if she liked it, and Zena would have to lie. When the final bell rang, she didn't run for the bus like usual. Instead, she marched toward the bike racks, where Ed was lounging against a pole, picking his teeth with a toothpick like some sort of cartoon villain. "Give it back," she said. Ed looked up. "Give what back, Scarecrow?" She pointed at his back pocket. "You took my sandwich." He raised both eyebrows in dramatic surprise. "Your sandwich? Must have mistaken it for trash. Tasted like it." Zena's hands balled into fists. "It wasn't trash. Granny made it." "Oh, Granny Jo," Ed mocked in a sing-song. "Does she cook with the chickens or just next to them?" Zena turned to leave, but that's when it happened. With a flick of his hand, Ed snatched her water bottle from her backpack's side pocket. Her favorite one, sky blue with faded stickers of stars and planets. And before she could shout, he hurled it with a wild whoop over the schoolyard fence, straight into the forbidden woods. It vanished into the tangled green like it had never existed. "There," he laughed. "If your sandwich was so special, maybe your bottle's got powers too. Why don't you go get it?" For a moment, the world went very still. Zena stared at the edge of the woods, at the dark tree line, curling like fingers around the hill's base. It wasn't just the rule that scared her. It wasn't even the so-called wolves with glowing orange eyes. It was Granny Jo. Granny had given her that bottle after Zena promised not to lose another one. "It's special," she'd said, "because it's yours, and because I trust you to take care of it." She couldn't go home without it. But she also couldn't go into the woods. "I dare you," Ed said, his voice like a bad song in her ear. "Or are you chicken like your granny's hens?" Barley had run over by now, eyes wide. "Zena, don't go in there, it's the rule." But rules didn't matter when Granny Jo trusted you. Rules didn't matter when your chest felt full of broken pieces and apple butter dreams gone sour. Zena took one shaky breath, looked past the fence and stepped toward the trees. Not because of Ed, but because this was the moment everything began to change.